Hey friends, it's Ashley. Happy International Scrapbook Day. I'm here with a layout for the color challenge at Citrus Twist Kits taking place in the Facebook group. And right here you can see the colors that are for the color challenge. I marked the ones that I used with a little asterisk. You could use all of them or some of them. And there are prizes for doing the challenge. So if you'd like to participate, make sure you come over to the Citrus Twist Kits Facebook group. There are other challenges that have been going on already and some more that will be coming up today. So I'm getting started with my layout. I thought since I was doing a color challenge, it would be fun to kind of make a color wheel. So I just created a pie chart die cut in Silhouette Studio and cut that out of some white cardstock. And I am working with some products from the Round Trip add-on kit for May and also the Crave mini kit that came out for May. So I just chose some pattern papers from the Round Trip kit, and some of these are Maggie Holmes papers. So I just kind of chose different colors that matched the colors for the challenge. And I'm tracing one of the pieces that I kept from my cut file. This is an easy way to get your backing piece. If you don't want to trace those inside lines of like a pie chart or something like that, you can use the piece that came out of the center, and it makes it a little easier to trace and cut that out. So I'm just going to do a couple of these here so you can see the process and then finish the rest of that off camera. And this design is going to go across both sides of the page in my Life Crafted album. So I want to get that in the center of my two background pieces here. So I just go ahead and put a little adhesive where I want that to be. And then I'm going to use my paper trimmer to go ahead and cut that excess piece off. And then I will put that on the left hand side and just making sure that I get everything lined up. It is a little off at the end, but I didn't worry too much about it. Sometimes your paper moves around, and so it kind of gets offline a little bit, but it was close enough that I didn't stress about it too much. So I'm going to finish getting that in place, and when you have something close to the edge like that, it's good to go ahead and make sure you have some good adhesive along those edges. So I'm going to do the same thing with my photo here. I've had a thing for circles lately, so I just decided to go with it and do the circle pie chart and then also do a circle photo. I just liked the design and the way that that looked, and it kind of worked out perfectly, like I said, for the color challenge. So I just did that same process with my photo, and now I'm going to start embellishing. I do want to put this across the page also, so I just kind of placed it where I could get it lined up to see where I wanted to cut it. And I'm going to just pop this piece up with a few pop dots here just to give it some dimension. I just like to add those pop dots to some of the embellishments to add a little interest to the layout so that everything is not so flat on the page. And then once I get that in place, I can start adding other things and then do some clustering around that also. I wanted to add a title, so these little stickers or letter stickers are from the Round Trip add-on kit also, and I liked that color. It went really well with the colors in the color challenge. So I'm going to add these kind of at the top and bottom, like a mirror image of one another, and it will say biking at the beach. And I'm just kind of going around the shape of the circle here, just eyeballing it and getting those in place. And the little tweezers always help with this kind of stuff, so your finger's not in the way, and you can see a little bit better where you're getting things placed. And I do mix some, this alpha set has capitals and lowercase on it. So I do mix a couple of those, not many. I think just one or two in each part of the title. I did the B and the G in capitals, and then I think the E and the C in capitals on the other part. Once I got the title finished, I decided to add some hand stitching to this. I like having hand stitching around shapes like this, especially if it's white cut file on a white background. It kind of gives a little bit of definition and a border. So I chose one of the colors from the color challenge. This is kind of like a golden yellow, and this is just going to be a simple back stitch. So I used a paper piercer to poke my holes around the edge of that circle. and then I just go over and under for my stitching. And I'm just going to do a little bit of this here. And you will see later on that I do go ahead and stitch around the photo on the inside too. I kind of thought at the end, once I finished everything, that it needed that extra stitching. So I do add that same color around the photo, and you can see that in the photos at the end of the video. And now I have all the stitching on the outside circle complete, so I am going to start embellishing. And like I said, I am using a mix of the Round Trip add-on and the Crave mini kit. The colors in the Crave mini kit worked really well with the color challenge. So I am adding some more pop dots here to this little floral cluster. And I normally don't like to work with purple, but it has actually been growing on me lately, and so I was glad that was one of the colors in the color challenge and also in these kits. So I do like this combination of the yellow, the pinks, the teal, and the purple. They all go really well together. So you can see I did add a couple of embellishments around the outside of the circle. I do add a few little embellishments, and then I am going to add some stamping there also. I wanted to put a flower cluster at the top to kind of balance out the one that I had at the other side, just to make it even. And it is a little bit of a smaller flower, so I am going to add some other stuff there at the top. And then these little kind of stickers had the little arrows, and I thought those would be cute to also add kind of going around the outside of the circle here. And I just used the black ones. I do like to add black kind of as a neutral. If I am doing a lot of colors like this, it really makes your other colors stand out and gives it a good contrast on your page. So this is another one of the pattern papers, the Maggie Holmes from the kit, and it had a couple of little just designs here that I thought I would fussy cut out to use as some extra embellishments on the page in those colors from the color scheme. And I'm just kind of building those in with the clusters that I already have here on the layout. And those were pretty easy to cut out because the shapes were not difficult shapes to cut. So I was just able to do that with my scissors really quick. And then I am going to pop up a couple of those with the pop dots and then just put the other ones right into the cluster that I already have. So now I want to do some stamping around the outside edge, and I chose some word phrases from this stamp set because you can kind of curve your stamps. Sometimes if they're really sticky, you can do it right on the paper, and I thought this one would work that way, but it wasn't quite sticky enough, so I just adjusted it on my stamp block. And you can see that I'm kind of just like working with it and curving it so that it's not straight. And once I kind of get it to where I think it looks good around the circle, I can go ahead and add my ink, and then I'm just going to stamp that right there above the circle. So it kind of creates like a fun border edge on the outside of the circle. And I'm able to bring in some more of those colors. You can see all of the Distress Oxide inks that I have here. I used Evergreen Bow, Salvage Patina, Fossilized Amber, Sponge Sugar, and I think that last one is Dusty Concord. And this is just a fun technique if you have some stamps that are kind of longer word phrases or kind of like some longer shapes, to just kind of work with them and bend them around just to create like something different where it's not just stamped completely straight on your page. So I'm going to do one more here, and then you can see I finished all of the rest of those off camera. And I do want to add some journaling. So since I was layering this over my photo and pattern papers, I just printed it on white cardstock this time. And I'm just going to use the tweezers here to get all of this in place. And I'm just adding it to that left-hand side. It kind of finishes balancing out that cluster with the bigger cluster that's on the right-hand side of the page. And I like to use a typewriter font, and I just type these up on my computer and then print them out on my printer. So once I get that in place, I'm going to add my date, and actually mess up my date because instead of doing April 23rd, I did April 32, and there is no April 32, of course. So I just fixed that really quick by changing it out with a little piece of pattern paper and re-stamping it. So that finishes up my layout today. Make sure you check out the Citrus Twist Kits Facebook group to join in the challenges. I will leave a link to that below and to the products I use. If this is your first time to my channel, I would love for you to become a new subscriber. Thanks so much for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.